Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, a show dedicated to helping you expand your capacity, take your life in every area to an entirely new level, and creating a day and a life by design. Here's your host, Dan Hafner. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Run Your Day podcast. As always, your host, Dan Hafner, joining you here. Appreciate you guys coming on and joining. Today's topic is this: not as easy as it looks. Appreciate you joining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. All right, everybody. So wanted to come on here and give you a little bit of a story about one of the things going on in my life and what you can learn from it. So as I've mentioned to you guys before on the show, my wife and I are moving here shortly. Currently, at the time I'm recording this, it's about the middle of May, and we will be moving in about 6 weeks. So we have our house listed here in Charleston, West Virginia. We're in the process of getting it sold right now. We've been having a lot of people come and look at it, but no offers yet on the table or anything. But basically, what happened was we had kind of a mess, in our house for a while. A couple rooms had just become kind of placements for, just where we threw things. We didn't really have things terribly organized for a long time. So when it came time to finally get this house listed, my wife and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, wow, we have a lot of work ahead of us, right? So over the course of about 3 to 4 days, I worked tirelessly. Like I did a lot of work of organizing, putting things away, throwing shit away, just plowing through the work that needed to be done, right? And it was a lot of work, not gonna lie. It was a lot, but there was like a pocket of peace that came about when I was done with that was really, it was liberating. It was like, wow, I fully did this. My wife helped. She did help a lot. I'm not trying to take full credit of this, but it was a really interesting place to be. And I talk about that in a different episode. But now the problem that I'm running into is we have people coming to look at our house quite often, right? And we do have 3 dogs. So I can't just be gone and somebody's like, hey, we want to come look at your house. And I'm like, yep, cool. No big deal. Just go in, check it out. I actually have to either come home if I'm gone or get everything cleaned up and get the dogs out of the house for about an hour and kind of go somewhere, go to the park, do whatever. First world problems. I get it. But anyway, what I'm running into is this problem of like when we're living in the house, right? Like we have, dishes that we get dirty because we're cooking, and the dog toys are all over the place, and the bed isn't made, and maybe there's toothpaste left out on the bathroom, or the dog tracked in some dirt so it needs swept up. Like there's just the little things that add up every day throughout just normal living. That just become like you're sitting there like, wow, like I really have a lot of maintenance to do. Like maintenance is not as easy as it looks, right? And that's kind of the principle I wanted to tie in today was, there's a lot of people I see out on social media or in this community even, and people I've engaged with, in other jobs and sales jobs and all kinds of stuff, that they think that once the work up front is done, that's all that's needed to be done. And, after that, everything's just supposed to work itself out, right? You take this, for example, inside of a business or a sales job, right? Like you have the mission, the task of building up that book of business or building up that business, building up your social media following, launching a funnel, doing whatever. And you make the money, you bring in the audience and you sell the shit, right? Like, boom, I did it. I maintained it. I got the customers. I freaking climbed the mountain, right? Now, what a lot of people don't realize is once you're up there, like you have certain obligations you have to keep up with. You have to fulfill on the promises you made. You have to continue to serve those people that now pay you or have paid you, right? And this is where I tripped up, even with this podcast a lot of times, where I had an audience, I had, a lot more listeners than there are here right now. and I quit on the show, or I didn't actually fulfill things that I said I was going to do. Like, I'll admit it. This is very, very true. And it's, it's something I'm not even just telling this to you guys. I'm kind of preaching to myself as well. Right. But it's interesting because I was even stuck in this camp for a long time. Like, man, if I just do all of this work up front, if I just sacrifice like for 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, like, man, I'll be on top of that mountain and it will feel incredible. It will be awesome. This is what happened when I cleaned out my house, right? I just buckled down for 3 days and got the shit done, and boom, like, conquered it, right? Then comes the maintenance. Then comes the upkeep, right? And what I'm finding is, although it's less work, it's a longer duration, right? Like, there's more. There's always the little things that come up. There's more to do. There's more things you don't even anticipate. You take this inside. I'll use another example for you guys inside of a relationship, right? When there's the whole dating game, there's the courtship, the seduction of, hey, we're dating and now we're friends, or we're friends, then we're dating, and then we're, maybe engaged, then living together, then married, and like this whole process. It's all fun and exciting when you're in a dating game, right? Excuse me. There's that certain mystique. There's that unknown factor. It's that, it's the human element inside of dating. That's what makes it so exciting. And that's why a lot of marriages end in divorce, or people get, relationships get stale after so long, is because that spark, that fire dies, because people stop the maintenance, right? They stop the upkeep. You can't afford to stop doing that work, because then the flame dies out. And it's just like in a business, right? If you stop serving your customers, they'll leave for something else. If you stop paying attention to your spouse, they'll leave for someone else, right? And it's a cold, hard fact of life. And it's just something that, not a lot of people like to talk about or acknowledge. And I think a lot of people, we as human beings, we understand this, but a lot of us don't want to actually do that. And I didn't for a long time either. I was like, well, what if I get to the top of this mountain and it's not the mountain I actually wanted to be on? Like, what if I get there and I'm like, man, I'm not really satisfied with what it is. Like, I'm kind of bored with this maintenance, or this thing that I have to keep doing. And what if I wanted something different? And you know what? That's okay. Like, you don't know until you actually get up there. You might get up there and it's like everything you've ever wanted, but you don't actually know. And I think a lot of people, this stops a lot of people from taking action and doing one certain thing, because you're like, well, what if I get to the top of this mountain? It's not what I want. Why even bother climbing that mountain in the first place? And what I'll submit to you is that climbing the mountain, whatever that metaphorical mountain in your life, whether it's a relationship or a new business or a new career or whatever it might be, just the simple act of doing that is going to be worth its weight in gold and give you that experience that you can then build on for the next thing, right? I've done so much shit over the past 5 years, right? I did stock trading, I did Forex stuff, I've done app building, I've done this podcast, I did a sales job, I've done IT work. Like, I've gone down so many different rabbit holes, some I never thought I would ever in my life. Like, I just kind of went on a complete tangent all over the place. But now sitting here today, looking back, I'm like, wow, I'm really thankful that I've gone all these different paths, because it's made me who I am today. And it's given me the experience and the knowledge and the failures to then build upon. And I'm more certain now than I ever was before. Even though, yeah, there's always fear, there's always doubt, there's always insecurity, there's always that element. But right now I can legitimately tell you, like, I'm more certain in my capacity of doing things than I ever have before, because of so much shit that I fucked up before. And that's just how you have to go about things. And I'm not saying you have to go through years of failing and screwing things up to be able to get to this place. But, now that I'm here, I realize, like, yes, the maintenance that I want to keep up, the things that I want to do for my upkeep in my life are what I actually want to be doing. And I found that out through getting so many, like climbing so many mountains and being like, well, this really isn't what I want. Okay, let's climb that mountain. Okay, let's do it. Climb the mountain. Well, this isn't really what I want either. Okay, let's try this one. Like it's just, there's this never ending cycle. And people think that the cycle ends. It never does. That's what life is. It's a continual cycle, always repeating itself. There's no end until you die, right? And the sooner you start accepting that this cycle is just a fact of life, the happier you'll be, the more content and the more certain you'll be that, you know, you are on the right path. You might not be in a job that you really want to do right now. You might not be in a relationship that you really want to experience right now. You might not be connected and mindful, you know, to God or spirit or whatever you call it in the way that you want to right now. But it's about the journey. You know, that's the old cliche. Oh, it's life's the journey, not the destination, right? Like, yeah, call me corny, but it's true. It's all about this cycle of learning, this cycle of climb the mountain, maintain, figure out if that's what you want, and then climb more, right? And I think the more that society starts to accept this, the more we as people start to accept this, I think things will get better. I think things will get better for a lot of us, right? So my question for you today is, how many mountains have you climbed? How many mountains have you climbed that you've actually gotten to a point where you're upkeeping something, you're in the maintenance phase, and you just were like, you know what? This isn't really what I want. Like, go back and actually count them, right? For me, I went back before I did this, and I have climbed, where's my paper here? 7 different quote unquote metaphorical mountains, right? Just inside of my career path. I didn't even go through the rest of my personal life, right? And now I'm sitting here more experienced, more diverse, more skilled than I ever have been in my life. And it was all because I chose to keep going through this process, right? So that's my question and my challenge for you today. Go back and look and think about, like, wow, I did climb that mountain. I did take that job I wasn't sure I wanted, and I became a master at it. Or, you know, I started this online business that I wasn't sure would succeed, and I actually did it. But, you know, I quit after a while, but it was actually cool, right? Go back and think about it, because you'll, in the process of doing this, you'll actually get more certainty about yourself. You'll see, like, wow, I actually accomplished some shit. I actually did some cool stuff. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be at the place where, like, wow, I really haven't done shit with my life, and I really need to fix that, you know? Either way, you'll find out some shit about yourself by doing this exercise, right? So if you want any more information on how to do that or why it's even necessary, you can always message me on the Run Your Day Facebook page. Always willing to help and lend a hand to anyone willing to listen. So as always, my friends, that's a wrap for the show. You can always visit the runyourdaypodcast.com for more information. Subscribe to the show and daily email reminders of the show. Appreciate you guys joining. Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day.